Hello, my name is Hasan Sorrells, and this is the Leadership Lessons from the Great Books podcast, Shorts. There's no co-host on these Shorts episodes. These are now around 6 to 8 minute long observations, ideas, thoughts, or rants about the literature, philosophy, psychology, and even the theology of leadership. Because listening to me talk about leadership for now around 6 to 8 minutes is still better than reading and trying to understand yet another business book. Even that business book that has been sitting in your Amazon queue that you just haven't been able to bring yourself to purchase for around the last 6 months. This one is going to be short and direct. The main problem in the dominant cultural discourse in the United States is not the power struggles between people and institutions of quote-unquote privilege. The main problem in the dominant cultural discourse is the challenge of attention. Case in point, currently the Hollywood actors in the United States are on strike against the Hollywood studios. Their demands are several, but the main demand that's interesting and relevant for leaders anyway is their demand or their request that studios protect their bodies, their acting styles, their faces, and their likenesses from impersonation via deepfakes and large language algorithms. Now, in case you don't know, because maybe you've been under a rock for a while, or maybe you've been floating around on TikTok and you haven't really noticed, a deepfake is, according to the Oxford Dictionary, a video of a person in which their face or body has been digitally altered so that they appear to be someone else, typically used maliciously or to spread false information. Close quote. Through the use of generative algorithms, euphemistically termed AI, a Hollywood studio, could conceivably film an actor one time in one role and then use their likeness again and again without paying them royalties or providing any future compensation of any kind to them. Now, on the surface, this sounds scary and terrible, and it sounds like a righteous hill for the actors in question to, quote-unquote, die on. It also makes the studios sound predatory, venal, and corporate, right along in our current zeitgeist with big tech, big pharma, big oil, big media, big Eva, etc., etc. Now, typically, this is where I would make a point linking the strike, which has been going on for a few months now, with no new movies being released to the public, to the demands of modern technology, or I might even link it to the curse of large language algorithms. But I'm going with the Minority Report on this one, because the bigger problem the actors in question, and by extension the studios that hire them, are actually avoiding is this one. The kid I follow on Instagram, the politician I roast in the comments beneath a clip of their latest tell-all Netflix documentary, the content creator I pay money to on YouTube via Patreon, the physical media I buy and store in my house that is fundamentally unalterable. All of those pinpricks bleed out the Hollywood system, actors and studios alike, far more effectively and efficiently than the big cuts, the big swipes of AI ever could. And even worse, they have led to far more actors being rendered irrelevant. If you don't believe me, just think of the last film you saw. One actor could have probably been switched out with another. And that's actually far worse than a deep fake of Brad Pitt walking around, or a deep fake of some no-name community theater actor in Los Angeles who got a role one time in the background of some film who is now waiting tables. Sure, they will, and there will be deepfake Cary Grant roles, and deepfake Marilyn Monroe pornography, and deepfake Johnny Cash performances. But the audiences for all of these deepfakes and large language algorithm-driven images and likenesses in the future, the audiences that will show up to those spectacles, well, they will do so with a knowing nudge and a wink to the creators of such spectacles, with everybody being in on the joke that it's all not real. And then, of course, when they leave the theater or close their computer or turn off the streaming service, they will be recalled afterward only as a rumor, mistaken for deja vu, and dismissed just as quickly. However, this will not diminish or minimize the fact that the attention of the audience is still what is most valuable, and at the end of the day, remains what counts for getting dollars out of wallets and butts into seats. But what does all this have to do with leadership? Well, in a time of even narrower dividing up of attention by even larger corporations, the acts and behaviors that resist and push back against attention-seeking algorithmically driven behavior will actually be valued more and more by average people who will be dulled into insensibility by the deepfakes and the pretendness around them. Yes, that narrow subset will have less available attention and will probably have even shorter attention spans than now. And of course, they will have even shallower depths of understanding, but they will have more available cash. And here's the thing for leaders, the search for quality leadership will remain a search that cannot be replicated and that never ends. Don't worry about the deepfakes. And well, that's it for me. Thank you for listening and subscribing to the Leadership Lessons from the Great Books podcast. If you're listening to this on any of the major podcast players, like iTunes, Google Podcasts, or Spotify, please go ahead and leave us a 5-star review and write a little bit in there. A couple of sentences is good enough. That actually helps us game those algorithms that I was just maybe addressing. And, of course, it helps us grow the show. Tell all your family, tell all your friends, and tell the leaders in your life that you know that need to be listening to this show, that this show exists. By the way, if you want to get started on the leadership path yourself, or you know some people who need to go on the leadership path, HSCT Publishing, the home company of Leadership Toolbox and Leadership Lessons from the Great Books podcast, can help you and your team do that. So check out our training webinars, coaching services, and more at leadershiptoolbox.us. We are remote, we're live, we're in person, we're on video, and we've got leadership development solutions for your civic group, nonprofit staff, public sector staff, or even your private sector leaders. And of course, you're going to want to check out our video-based subscription service at leadingkeys.com. That's leadingkeys.com for leadership development on demand. You don't like videos, you don't like training, but you really like the podcast? Well, I would also recommend reading a book. Matter of fact, I'd recommend reading my most recent book, 12 Rules for Leaders, The Foundation of Intentional Leadership. You can get that in paperback, hardcover, or as an ebook on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, Ingram Spark, and any other place that you order books online. Finally, of course, we're on YouTube just like everybody else is. We'd love to have you help us grow the YouTube channel, so like and subscribe to the video version of this podcast on the HSCT Publishing channel on YouTube. Just search for HSCT Publishing, or you can search for Leadership Toolbox and hit the subscribe button. Subscribing helps us grow the show, as it does with the audio, just is the same with the video. All right, that's it for me.